2022 was an unprecedented year for Russian economy, an unprecedented year for Russia in general, not just the economy. But I zero in into country's economy. After the first news of the attacks on Ukraine last February, one thing became crystal clear to me. Russian economy was instantly in serious, very serious trouble. It was doomed, actually, because you just don't attack a neighboring country and get away with it. I forecasted what would happen in following months. Almost 12 months later, it's safe to say that my forecasts have turned out to be correct about 80%, and what I was wrong was the details. But the core things I've turned out to be right. Well, you know what? Listen, it doesn't take to be a rocket scientist to understand what's going to happen to your country if you become an aggressor. It takes common sense and logic, things that I have in a basic understanding of how economy works. Well, I went to two universities in two countries to study economics for 7 years combined. And I know a thing or two about the economy. My forecast initially was very negative. And I was not alone. Everyone understood that Russian economy became to be in a very dire straits. Both Russian economists and foreign economists, everyone was negative in their forecast. Russian Central Bank, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Economic Development, etc., they did not draw a good picture. International organizations as well did not give good forecast to Russian economy. For example, International Monetary Foundation Fund, a very reputable international organization that is a de facto standard in forecasting all over the world, forecasted decrease of Russian economy for 2022. There have been a few forecasts and they were changed. In April, they forecasted that Russian economy would shrink by 8.5%, which is complete disaster. It's a crash. In July, they improved forecast for 2022 to 6%, decrease of 6%. It's a little better. In October, they improved their forecast for 2022 one more time to the overall decrease of 3.4%. And now the IMF says that the fall of Russian economy in 2022 turned out to be 2.2%. It was way better than initial 8.5% decrease. Still, minus 2.2% is pretty disastrous. When the economy doesn't grow, it's at zero. They say, well, that's really, really bad, Minus 2.2% is beyond bad. But what's more interesting is the IMF forecast for 2023. According to the IMF, Russian economy will grow by 0.3%. A little bit, but grow. Grow. Huh? In this stream, I will tell you what is truly happening in the Russian economy right now in February of 2022 and why I think the IMF is way off in their forecast for Russia for 2023. Imagine how Russian propaganda was being ecstatic when they heard the IMF was improved the forecast into the growth, from the red into the black. Oh boy, it's been like it's every single dude out there, big and small, saying, "You see, oh, we turned them wrong. We proved them wrong. But hey, let's not talk about it right now. My forecast for Russian economy is that the economy will decrease in 2023 by 4% at least. Mark my words. And let's compare the end of the year with the forecast that the IMF made. Mark my words, friends. Howdy, howdy. My name is Konstantin and welcome to Inside Russia, where I give you news updates that I find important and that explain what's really happening inside Russia now. Inside Russia is where usual Russia explained by the unusual Russian. And I'm talking about the economy. Well, there are two and a half biggest issues in Russia, in my mind, for me. First is the war and everything connected to the war. Second is the economy. And the third is the social situation in Russia. Everything else is not that important in my eyes. And the most important things, they all spin around these two and a half topics. The war, the actions in Ukraine, the economy, how's Russian industry, business, how's Russian economy, and what's going on in Russian society. So today about the economy, because we are at the stage when things have gone to the point when they start happening fast. The news come out fast. It took quite a long time to gain momentum, and it's gained now, and things come out every single month that are absolutely important. And the economic tsunami that I've been saying, is coming. Well, it's pretty much here. I've been talking about economic tsunami coming and, destroying Russian economy since March. I actually coined the term. By the way, I've heard it repeated by a few big economists recently in Russia. But I am the one who came up with this term and who have been saying since early March of 2022. So where is the economic tsunami? Is it coming? Is it far? Is it around the corner? It's not coming at all. Things are well now. What's going on, hon? Let's find out. Let's jump right into it. Let's look at what's happening with Russian economy. And in this stream, I will talk about the big picture. I will talk about what is happening, what has been happening with the Russian bread maker, Russian oil and natural gas. And tomorrow, I will speak of more details of what's happening in the industries, because these two topics are very interconnected. What happens to oil and gas has a great influence on what happens in other areas, all areas of Russian economy. Okay. What's interesting about January and February is that the numbers keep coming out. As you remember, the catastrophic event for Russian economy happened on December 6th. Well, besides February 24th of 2022, of course. That was the general catastrophic event. But for the economy, we all knew it had been coming, because in July, Europeans decided to ban imports of Russian oil for European countries, and for other countries to set up price cap for Russian oil. December 6th, when that measure came into effect, Europe stopped buying Russian oil. Gas had been turned off for quite some time. The two pipelines have been destroyed, and Russia have decreased pumping gas into Europe starting August. Okay, so we're just talking about oil now. Oil is bigger in terms of revenues than gas. It's just Russia sells way more oil, used to sell way more oil than it used to sell gas. So that's bread maker number one. Europe stopped buying Russian oil, and the price cap was set up as $60 per barrel. Russia stopped selling oil to quite a few countries, and by the way, those countries were in the past Russia's best paying customers. And the countries that kept buying oil started getting insane discounts, up to 40 or 50%. The economy, the changes that happen in the economy, they don't happen overnight. Actions create reactions, but usually those reactions take some time to get into effect, to be felt. That's exactly what has happened with Russian oil. In December, not of much of an effect was felt, but in the month of January turned out to be the worst in modern Russian history, economic-wise. The biggest drop of the economy. Price of Russia's oil, called Urals, that's Russian brand, the price has fallen and is currently trading below $50 per barrel. I remind you, there was a big spike in oil prices after Russia attacked Ukraine and the war started in April, in March, in May. Remember how much you were paying for gas at the gas stations? Yeah, Russia was enjoying high prices and it was selling oil close to $100 per barrel. I think 86 oil peaked at. Good price. Now, less than 50. Ministry of Finance of Russian Federation just announced that oil and gas revenue in Russia in January amounted to 426 billion rubles. Listen to me very carefully now. This is the key to understand the current situation in the economy. 426 billion rubles. It's twice as little if compared to January of 2022 and even compared to December 2022, the previous month before January. Twice as little. This is the event, the catastrophic event that has finally come to the Russian economy. And you can't argue with this number. It comes from the Ministry of Finance of Russian Federation. As of this point, Russian budget is planned to be deficit, in the red, for 2023 by about 3 trillion rubles. So you understand that Russian budget heavily relies on price of oil. 3 billion ruble deficit is planned with forecasted price of oil at $70 per barrel. If we consider the real current price of oil is $50, it's below, but let's say it's $50, The price is being paid for Russian oil now is lower, but let's say it's $50. Then we have another number of Russian budget deficit. Add 4 more trillion rubles to already forecasted 3 trillion deficit. That's total 7 trillion rubles in red. I think the only hope that they have in the Russian government is for somehow prices of oil will start growing. But this hope is groundless because of the embargo and the price cap. Let's take a look. Let's take a closer look of who's currently buying Russian oil and if there is a possibility of price increase. As you remember, European countries, they stopped buying Russian oil. They can't buy because there's an embargo. They're not allowed to buy Russian oil anymore. So the only customers that remain for Russia, some old ones and some new ones that they just had found, are in the East. There's one problem for Russia, though. Those buyers are already set on oil. They have been set for, always. They have been supplied oil from the Persian Gulf. That is, by the way, has higher grade. I think it's light sweet or something like that. And it's much closer to the eastern countries than Russia, so the logistics are much cheaper. And for example, from Venezuela and from other countries, And here comes Russia in 2022 and says, oh, wait a second. We are here to offer our own oil. We can't sell it to Europe, but hey, we'll sell it to you. There's already market set for oil for those countries. And how difficult is it to break into that market? There's only one way. They'll buy it. These customers in the East, they will buy it. But they will buy it at a huge discount. And Russia is not in the position to negotiate. And you know what? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that the prices for Russian oil will not be going up in the next year, 2 years, whatever. They'll be going down because these countries will be demanding more and more discounts. But if you look at, let's look at a different angle a little bit. If you look at many information resources, at much information coming from the West, you might see that a lot of people saying, oh, Russia has successfully bypassing the sanctions. Russia has amassed a huge fleet of old oil tankers and using that fleet to ship its own oil to India to somehow mix it with oil from other countries to refine into gasoline, heating oil, and other products, and selling those products from India as Indian products into Europe, okay, bypassing sanctions. For example, it sends oil to Egypt and mixes with different oil from different countries, and it ceases to be Russian oil, and they sell it someplace. So Russia has been doing tricks to actually bypass the sanctions. That is true. That is true. That is currently happening. But there's one catch. What most Westerners don't understand is that these schemes, these crimes, these bypassing tricks to bypass sanctions, they do not benefit Russian budget and Russian taxpayers at all. Why? It's plain and simple. Once oil is sold and shipped outside of Russia, that's it. Profit from oil is taxed at that point. And at that point, Russian oil is sold at very low price and there's no profit. So there's no tax generated to the Russian budget. Whatever happens after, it goes to India, it goes to Egypt, it does not benefit Russian budget whatsoever, okay? It has no effect on oil revenues. So it's sold at the border, it's shipped at a minimum price, and that's pretty much it. Those people who use advantage of the schemes, they're crooks, both Russian and European crooks, okay? And whatever they're doing after oil is out of Russia, we don't really know, okay? But there are schemes are definitely being used. It's probably Putin's friends that control Russia's oil industry are doing that, but again, we don't know for sure. So if you read in the Western newspapers that Russia is successfully bypassing sanctions, no. Some people are taking advantage, but not Russia. Russian budget does not benefit anything. So, now let's go back to Russia. From now on, every month, Russia loses half of its previous oil and gas revenues. Half. But wait, it will get worse. It actually already gets worse. December 6th was one catastrophic event for Russian economy. Ban of oil exports to Europe and oil price cap for the countries that keep buying Russian oil. There's another event just happened, February 5th. Another catastrophic event: embargo for oil refined products, such as gasoline, heating oil, and so forth. There are a bunch of oil refineries in Russia, and Russia sells not exports not only crude oil but the products of oil refinement, and that's a big part of the budget revenue as well. Now, Russian budget at this point today currently loses about 160 million euro per day due to existing oil embargo, and that amount starting February will double to about 300 million euro per day, because of the new embargo on Russian oil refinement products. Does it mean for Russia in general, and what will Russian government do? Again, I stress again and again and again that oil and gas revenue is the foundation of Russian economy. Okay, there's nothing more important than oil and gas revenue. Everything depends on oil and gas revenue. So the losses we're seeing, that they are huge, absolutely huge, and they're already happening now. And Russian economy start feeling the pinch. One good thing for Russian government, though, that kind of has been saving Russia's butt, is that Russia had accumulated a very large amount of reserves, cash reserves. Some of those reserves have been confiscated, about half of them, because they were placed outside of Russia in European and American banks. And half of them are still remain in Russia, available for spending. Basically, there's a huge savings account in Russia's central bank, and in Russia it's called the Fund of Nations Well-Being. Some amount from sale of every barrel of oil and from natural gas was put aside in the past to the savings account. Back in the days when oil price was high, a very smart move, by the way, and somehow the United States doesn't do that. It doesn't save money, but overspends, on the contrary, everything. But Russia actually saved, and we have a pillow of money, like a reserve pillow of money, so to speak, And how much money is left now in February of 2023? About 6 trillion rubles. Now, remember, I started my stream telling that at the price of oil at $50 per barrel, the budget deficit of Russia will be 7 trillion rubles. And now, in that savings account, only 6 trillion left. It means that this amount won't last entire year. Even only spent to cover oil and gas revenues, only. Losses I'm talking about. Don't forget, there are other economy problems that need money to be helped with money. There are some other catastrophes happening in Russian economy that need that savings account. That the hands to the savings account, they come from different sides. Everyone needs money now. There's a huge amount of increased military spendings. Guess where the money is coming from? The savings account. Money has to come from somewhere. Come back to watch the stream tomorrow, and I'll be talking about what's going on with Russian industries. This is kind of part 2 of the stream. My forecast, they'll dry out that savings account by mid or late summer. Mark my words on that. This is huge. You've got to understand that currently, and now, let's talk a little bit about more than oil and gas. You see, currently, the only way of financing anything in Russia is the government. That's the only source. All the alternative way of financing, they're gone. Foreign investors, guess what happened to them? Gone. Russian investors, gone. They're not stupid. They have taken money out of Russia and moved it someplace safe. Local companies, what local companies are you talking about? The companies are closing. The markets are imploding. No local companies. They're mostly gone. And the ones who remain, they're trying to survive. No investments, no development. They're merely trying to survive. Foreign companies, gone. If you want investment or financing, you go to Russian government. But it has tons of other stuff. Social security payments, support of the troubled parts of the economy, war. And the government needs money for every single part more than ever. And the money it has right now, disappearing fast. Well, thank goodness there will be no money to finance the war. You wait a second. You might say, wait. You're talking about oil and gas revenues, right? There are other sources of revenues, like taxes, personal taxes, corporate taxes. No. Don't count on those in Russia anymore, as taxes have been shrinking steadily. Last 11 months happened, and, all those changes in Russian society, they have not gone without trace. All those Western companies leaving, big, small, and huge, over 1,000 of them, it leaves a trace in Russian economy. Those who were shouting something like, oh, let them go, we will not let them come back, we will put extra tax on them coming back, and it just will be fine without them, There were lots of shutouts like that in March, in April. Guess what those people are doing right now? That's what happened to them. They're shut up and sitting quiet. They're not screaming that anymore. So Russia has very little in terms of revenues left besides oil and gas. And that very little remaining has been diminishing thanks to the government policies. You think that 3 million Russian males leaving Russia since September 21st keep on paying taxes in Russia? You think they keep on doing business in Russia? You think they keep on investing in Russia, being outside Russia? Yeah, right. Well, you know what? Things like that, they're not gone without trace. Russian economy starts feeling every single freaking pinch. Well, you get the picture, There are, more details like that. And at the very end of the stream, why the IMF improved the forecast to the red, from the red to the black, instead of saying that Russian economy would fall by such and such, to now they're saying would increase by 0.3%. Well, one simple explanation. The IMF takes in consideration GDP. There are two reasons that they have been upgrading the economy forecast for Russia throughout the year. First, oil prices going up. Russia making record profits in 22 in the first half of the year from sales of oil and gas. Remember, the gas went absolutely crazy price, like $4,000 per square meter of cubic meter of gas, from 300, 400 to 4,000, 10 times. And oil peaked at high 80s. Russia benefited every single dollar and cent from that. And that pumped Russian economy. It kept it going. And the second is GDP. Well, the GDP is not the second. GDP is the whole, but GDP, the two positive factors was the oil prices and increase in manufacturing. And guess what kind of manufacturing happened in Russia? What the only increase, but a big one, was in military production. There are two things. In October, they released the data that manufacturing of metal goods, they didn't say anything else, but we understand what kind of metal goods they meant, went up crazy numbers from the usual. And the manufacturing of clothing went up. And we all understand what kind of clothing they mean. That have kept Russian economy afloat in the eyes of the IMF. That's why they upgraded, they improved the forecast. But guess what? Those are just macro statistics. And the IMF was mistaken in the past numerous times because it usually judges the situation in more positive way than it really is. I think they were off with their forecast before every major crisis that happened in Russia in 1998, in 2008, and 2014. So they paint a better picture historically than that truly is. But mark my words, like I said in the beginning of the stream, I think that the Russian economy will decrease by around 4%. And the IMF says it'll go up by 0.3%. We'll see who is right at the end, Don't forget that the increase in military spendings does not have multiplying effect on the Russian economy like other industries. Money spent for production of rockets. Rockets are sent to Ukraine. They explode, and that's it. More rockets are made, and they explode, and that's it. That's pretty much what happens. Those spendings do not create other spendings and other benefits in the economy. So it's just not that important, not significant. So in my opinion, the IMF forecast is wrong. But again, mark my words and we'll see what happens. To sum it up for today, this current economic disaster is in the stage 1 right now. And stage 1, this economic tsunami, it's not around the corner anymore. The water is up to our waist and it's going up very fast. It's here. Ban of exports of Russian oil and gas has brought everything down, completely down. The foundation of the economy, and oil and gas revenues is the foundation, has been crushed. And what is above foundation is being influenced, affected, and it's following the crash of the foundation. The stage 2 will happen when the stage 1 is over, when the money from the savings account will be gone, will run dry, and the Russian government will have absolutely no choice but to turn on the printing press, start printing money. That means one thing. Inflation will start skyrocketing. Forget about strong Russian rubles. Right now, it's not as strong anymore. It's, back to January 2022 exchange rate. So it's not that strong as a lot of people say. Look, Russian ruble is strong. Russian ruble is going down the drains, and it's only a matter of a few months. Inflation will skyrocket, and when that happens, it will be very fast, and people will start suffering a great deal. Right now, people haven't been suffering that much because it concerns macroeconomics only. Well, for the most part. But once the stage 2 kicks in, oh boy, there will be a huge impact on regular Russians' lives. Tomorrow, I will continue speaking of Russian economy, and I will give you details on what is happening in the Russian industries, what has suffered the most. And by the way, there are shortages of different drugs in Russia, and I'll explain what has happened, with that. And that's not pretty, Trust me. People who are sick and they need drugs, they can't find them. But that's not the only troubled part of Russian industry. There will be more. I will explain more about that, and I will give you my forecast on production, financial sector, and so forth. So please come back tomorrow to continue learning about what's happening in Russian economy and what will follow very, very soon. This has been my message for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. I apologize for the delay. It's snowing in Tashkent, and I will explain in a few minutes in the comments what happens when it snows in Tashkent. Thank you. Before I turn it, I would love to hear your feedback. Thank you for your questions, for comments. I will try to answer all questions as much as possible. Before I turn on the comments, I'm asking two things. First, please help spread my message by making reposts on your social media accounts. And second, please sign up for my Telegram channel called Inside Konstantin's Russia, where I give you updates and I inform you of what's happening on the channel. Like today, earlier, I posted pictures of snowy Tashkent. It was kind of a hint that technical difficulties in the stream were to follow. So turning on the comments now. Thank you so much. Also, I would like to try something different. YouTube has rolled out a new feature. It says reactions live. So people would be able to press different emojis and then they would appear on the screen. So let's try that. And I just turned on the chat. It's available to everyone, so everyone welcome. Thank you so much. It was limited to inform you of the delay. That's something that I usually don't do, but it's a very strange situation. Before jumping into the questions and discussions, I'd like to thank all the mods for coming again, for waiting patiently. Thank you so much. Lorna, Mommy, Bob S., Harry, Amir, and Black Cat, I appreciate. And thanks you everyone for waiting, for being patient. Thank you so much. Anyway, the weather is cold in Tashkent. There's a cold spell for a couple days and it started snowing today. It snowed all day, and every time it snows here, it's a disaster. Rolling blackouts. I did not have electricity. I called up this local energy center. They said, we'll turn it on around midnight. And I figured, that's going to be not midnight, but past midnight. They turned it on around 12:30. Took me a few minutes to set everything up, so I apologize. Wasn't my really wasn't my fault, but it's snowing in Tashkent. Yeah, everyone is like, what do you want? It's snowing. It's crazy. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. Mods and the usual suspects. I'm seeing the emojis flying, the hearts. You know what? That's pretty cool. I like it. Thank you so much. Believe it or not, but it's very, very touching to me. Thank you. Reading the comments is great, but the emojis are flying. That's also pretty cool. Thank you. As usual, if you want me to notice your question or comment easier, please put it in caps, put inside Russia after that sign so it jumps into my eyes in a large orange box. Thank you. I see a super chat of a huge amount from Jason Carney. Thank you, Jason. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for supporting. Your support is much appreciated and it's very felt. Thank you. From me and my wife, Natasha. And Jason has given 10 sponsorships of the gift of 10 sponsorships to people, to subscribers. Thank you so much, Jason, from me and from all the people. Tomorrow will be stream about the continuation of the stream about the economy, facts, figures, numbers, and on Saturday there will be a stream as usual for sponsors and patrons, where I will talk of more personal things, of plans, and please come and join the private stream. Julie W. Also, thank you very much for sponsoring 5 people. Appreciate it very much. Kieran Whitefield, thank you for your support. Much appreciated. No message, but this message is powerful enough. Okie dokie. Beratus, first question. Given that the Russian economy is primarily driven by global market forces, is it experiencing a drastic decline in oil and gas revenues? How can nationalism overcome its economic needs? It can't, and it will not. That's going to be a huge disaster. It's like 2 trains coming towards each other, and they will crash at some point. I mean, it's easy. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that. Jekyll Ann from Australia, thank you so much for your support. No messages, but trust me, your name is remembered, and this is very important message and very important support. Thank you. Так. I see a lot of usual suspects. We have quite a few people in the stream, and I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. Mods, let's go as far as we can because of the delay. You just let me know when that's it, cancel. Mr. Kaliskin, good day from Chicago. Howdy, howdy. Ken Harris. Again, I'm reading the comments in caps and with orange box that appears if you put inside Russia after @ Exit stage left. Jeffrey S. Brian Woods, thanks for the message on Russian gas and oil. Was great as usual. Thank you so much. This is very rewarding to me because it means that I've done all this work not in vain. But I'm here for the insurance quote renewal and the free car dog. I hear you have agents waiting to help. Thanks for your help, Brian. Carson Larrymore, once the economic crash happens, when it starts affecting all Russians, who will be to blame, Putin or the West? I think when it starts happening towards the end of the year, perhaps fall, perhaps summer, something like that, there will be a chaos because everyone will start blaming everyone. Some people will start blaming the government. Some people, if Putin's position is weaker and people will see that his position is shaking, so to speak, they will start, every single person and his brother in propaganda in the government will start blaming Putin. If Putin is out of the office, you wait, there will be a huge wave of blame. We didn't know what's happening in Ukraine. He's the one responsible. What could we do? He was the one making decisions and so forth. Of course, they will be blaming the West, okay? They've been saying for a year, you know what? We are so strong. We're not going to feel all these sanctions. Fudge them. Literally, they were saying that. Fudge them, with the sanctions. We are the great Russia. We are, we've got up from our knees and so forth. But then in 6 months, they will be saying this. But wait a second, the unprecedented sanctions, what can you, of course, it's expected if a country is placed under so many sanctions, of course economy gonna go down. See, they will change completely from what they have been saying to what they will be saying. And this is how Russian politics, and not only politics, Russian society works. Okay, people are not responsible for their words. They can say whatever they want. Tomorrow they can say absolutely different thing and no one will ask them, wait a second. If you're a government official, you said one thing, you're saying another thing, well, why don't you resign? They will just laugh at your face, So they will be blaming and Putin and the West and the Martians and the reptiloids. Reptiloids, they will get the fair share. They will blame Jehovah's Witnesses. They will blame Mormons. They will blame, of course, Davos Economic Forum and that fella, the organizer, I forgot his name. They will blame Rockefellers like you're not going to believe. They will blame the Communist Party of Russia. They will blame the United Russia. There's going to be a blame game. Luke King, do you think China could loan money to Russia to stop phase 2? No. China is not going to do that. Are people being conditioned by propaganda for really hard times? Not yet. They're being conditioned for war. Oh, we need conscripts. We need young boys to go and fight for the country. We need more people. We need all those traitors to be brought back and sent to the front lines. That kind of conditioning is happening right now. No conditioning for hardship. But China will not lend money to Russia under any circumstance because it actually needs Russia to go into phase 2. It needs weak Russia, not strong Russia. It's going to grab Russian assets, land, control, Russian construction industry, banking industry, I can talk about China for an entire hour because I've dealt with the Chinese companies. I know how they have tried to work in Russia. Here in Uzbekistan, I have dealt with 2 Chinese companies already. Trust me, they're ruthless. They have different goals. The goals are different. We want to build a power plant. They want to come in here and grab the market and control it. They don't care about the profits. Okay, well, of course they do, but they see profits differently. So we have like 2 different sets of values with the Chinese. They're big in the Uzbekistan market, by the way. Thank you, Luke, for your great question as usual. Your questions are fantastic. William Handy, thank you so much for your support, $10. I like your avatar. I think it's Adjip, Italian company. Jason Carney, thank you for another. Well, I am your number 1 fan. Okay, it's not vice versa, but trust me, I am. Me and Natasha, we are your fans. Thank you again. Scott Beck, thank you. Joe Vlogs has a good podcast on Russian economy. Keep up the good work. I have not watched Joe Blogs for a long time, and anyone for that matter, because I simply do not have time. He's usually a very good. He provides very good material. I watched him in the past. He even did a reaction video on me. It's pretty cool. Anyway, thanks for letting me know. Thank you. Ken Harris, howdy. Mira Luna, Marilyn Parmalee, Theodore, Mystery, howdy. Victoria A, Ann Larson from Sweden, James Rhodes, Wild Wolfpack, aloha. Ed Martin from Canada, great message as always. Thank you. Linda London, drinking very good tea from the UK. I'm not sure if it's from London. It's called Taylor's of Harrogate Darjeeling whole leaf tea. This is what I'm drinking today. And it's pretty darn cool. Fritz, thank you very much for the applause. Love this new YouTube feature, only allowing trusted people in the chat. Dai, the virtual Vietnamese cat. It's pretty cool, thank you. Me too, I like it. Seeing all the hearts and 100% and smiles is pretty cool. Lionel Slade, howdy. Pacific Beaches in the house, Charlie B. Pomstar, the economic trouble that Russia will experience will only be experienced by the common folk. The oligarchs and politicians responsible for this mess will still be living in luxury. Thank you. You are absolutely right, and it's very, very tragic because it will. I agree. It will affect regular folks. I've said it quite a few times already. You know what? I will repeat saying that forever. What I saw in Dubai 3 weeks ago was absolutely atrocious. At the Palm Dubai, the very expensive place, in its most expensive part, there is one of the palms that is exclusively Russian. I stayed at the hotel right across from the bay, and I could hear a huge party on the beach. Only Russians, a Russian famous pop singer singing, giving a concert, and Russian politicians. They were very loud. They were toasting microphones, and you could hear that. They were saying, "Oh, we had the biggest and the best year ever, 2022." And I was sitting there, and then there were tears in my eyes. Like, come on, guys, are you serious? Hundreds of people, hundreds of thousands of people have been killed, died. The country of Ukraine that has been half destroyed, and you send rockets to Ukraine, and you saying you had the fantastic year, financially the best, and you want these years to come. This is how much the situation affects Russian politicians and Russian oligarchs. This is how much, and this is a tragedy, and I don't really know what to do about that. I like the early restricted chat. Bob S. Well, I did this to inform people of, why I was late and that I was still coming. How's mom and how's she doing, sir? Black Cat, mom is good. Thank you so much. You will see mom one of these days, and you will see her and some other members of my family. Lando Plenty, howdy, howdy. Nick, China took advantage of the cap at 37 a barrel to unload Russian tankers. I did not hear 37, that number, but you know what? That's 37 is complete disaster because Russia is paying more to extract and deliver than $37 per barrel. So Russia loses actually money on every sale at $37. This is even worse than I thought. Leslie Fleming is a sponsor of a channel. Someone gifted the sponsorship, and this is fantastic. Starshine Ranch from USA, please explain DPR and LPR separatists 2008-2022. Are they native residents or Putin's infiltrators? Not really economic question, but I will explain. Only not 2008, 2014. In 2014, a political turmoil happened in Ukraine. I have talked about it quite a bit. There was a Maidan. People came onto the street, and some politicians took advantage of that, in Ukrainian politicians. So it was a very great thing that Ukrainians did. They wanted to overthrow the government. They wanted to, they wanted freedom. They wanted, anyway, that Maidan happened. You all know what happened, right? And then Russians got very upset, and Putin got very upset, and he annexed Crimea. He sent troops, Russian military, to Crimea and claimed that it's Russian. And at the same time, the eastern parts of Ukraine, 2 provinces, Donetsk and Luhansk, were infiltrated by FSB, KGB operatives. And they created the turmoil, military turmoil. Basically, why am I saying that? Because 2 people who are responsible, first is Igor Girkin, Strelkov, and the second is, last name is Borodai, I think Alexander Borodai. They were responsible, and Igor Girkin in interviews explained everything freely, clearly, of what happened. And he started the war in Donetsk and Luhansk. Without him, nothing would have happened. Luhansk and Donetsk would be Ukrainian, just like Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporizhia, and so forth, But he was sent to Donetsk and Luhansk to start the military mess, and he did. Obviously, he was financed by someone. Well, we all understand by who. And Igor Strelkov and Borodai, they are Russian citizens. They were born and raised in Russia, I think in Moscow. And, guess who's responsible? Guess who are the separatists are? Are they native residents? Born and raised in Moscow, okay? I think that just tells you all. Stefan, tricks and tips. Hey, Konstantin, just joined, so missed the stream, but I'll watch tomorrow. Remember, user said that he can't send a super chat in Ukraine. I'm in Georgia and can't because of the location. Interesting. I don't know why. Perhaps my I registered Google account in Russia a long time ago. Perhaps because of that. Anyone else cannot send me a super chat from anywhere else. Perhaps it's Google local policies. But let me see if I can change my location to Uzbekistan, because I'm not in Russia anymore. Anyway, I'll look into this. Chirper, what assumptions did IMF make to outcome a war, re-outcome a war? I didn't understand the question. What's re-outcome a war? Riptide, thanks for the prayers. Thank you. Mr. Mojo Rising, stay safe, be well, and wish you a great day from Los Angeles. All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. I'd be safe and sound, right? If I was in LA. You're a good guy and a great example what a hardworking human can achieve, no matter where you live. Thank you so much. I wish I lived in LA. Danielski, have greetings from Belgium. Sending love to Belgium. Thank you. Bob Ass doing bulletproof job as always. Bob Ass is fantastic. In the chat, Joe Blocks has given the same numbers as you did in your message. Woohoo! You know what? We probably have the same source. I double check my numbers and I fact check everything before I say, because I don't want to sound like Chipushila here. That's a Russian word for person who just gives false information. So I'm pretty sure. And Joe Blogs, I value him. He's a fantastic presenter and he has a fantastic channel, and he's spot on the numbers. So both of us giving you the same numbers, it means that it's true. Maxine, thank you. I'm hoping that this economic crash will shake the Russian public out of their apathy related to politics. Thank you. It's very good. Thanks for the money, and thank you for the comment. It's actually, I'm gonna elaborate on that. Until it hits their personal comforts, nothing will change. I'm glad you're safe from the UK. Thank you so much. UK, one of my most favorite places to visit. London, surroundings of. You know that I still almost know by heart all the stories by Arthur Conan Doyle about Sherlock Holmes. It was my favorite read when I was little. Anyway, you are spot on, Maxine, for one simple reason. God works in mysterious ways, and life is a journey, definitely not a destination. My life is proof. I lived in Russia until 46, and I had thought that nothing could surprise me because I had been through anything and everything. Okay. What else I hadn't been through? It was not such a thing. Well, turned out I was so wrong because on February 25th, September 25th, I had to get up, book a ticket for $5,200 to anywhere, the only flight I could find out of Russia, and pack in 36 hours and cut ties with Russia. And I would have to leave in 36 hours. And you know what? For first 3 months, I felt every single day, every single minute of my existence here, I felt really bad, depressed, and I felt like it was the most terrible tragedy that happened to me. And this is it. Everything's over. I mean, what do I do next? But then one morning I woke up and I had a feeling that this is not a tragedy. It's a gift. This is an opportunity because many doors closed, got shut behind me. But you know what? As soon as I did, new doors started opening. I live. I keep on living. I have new horizons in front of me, okay? Things are not that bad. And all it took, a great discomfort, a great personal tragedy of me becoming a refugee. And perhaps you're right. Perhaps these catastrophic events will shake Russian public so hard that they will jump out of their apathy and they will wake up from this lethargic sleep and they will say, you know what, we deserve much better. We deserve to govern our own lives. That's what the Russians lack. They lack the understanding that they are the masters of their own lives. They think that nothing is up to them. Everything is up to them in reality. They just don't realize it. They need to wake up, realize, and that'll change everything. So thank you so much for your support and fantastic message. Thank you. Dave C. lives near Harrogate. You know what? Go and knock on the door and tell them there's Konstantin, a great blogger on YouTube, and he drinks your tea. Freaking sponsored him already. It's good tea. Sponsoring or not, it's excellent. Taylors and Twinings are two my favorite brands. I like them both. And you know what? If one of those brands would sponsor me, I would drop another brand. I would be drinking exclusively only Taylors or only Twinings. To me, they're very close. William Handy, thank you for the book recommendation. Who is John Galt? Oh yeah, that's. I'm glad you read it or reading it. Isn't it great? Atlas Shrugged, everyone. Atlas Shrugged. If you haven't read the book, I recommend you read it. Ayn Rand was born in Odessa, Ukraine, Russian Empire. Left Russia when she was little, became American, and she was absolutely fantastic. Lionel, thank you so much. Have a super chat from the UK. The revolution will happen once the riot police are not being paid. Do you agree? Yes. Moreover, the riot police can start the revolution itself. Roy Cousins, Taylors of Harrogate. Harrogate is in Yorkshire. Point taken, thank you. Soviet era bread lines coming. No, Sam, there will be no bread lines. There will be a different problem. There will be plenty of bread. Won't be any money to buy the bread. Okay, so forget about the bread lines. Russians are facing a different problem. They're going to be penniless. Jill B, have you watched Pinball's video on China starting their draft for the first time on March 1st? Wondering if you think they would mobilize to enter Russia? I have not heard that. I will definitely pay attention. I watched Pinball's video on who blew up Russian pipelines. And let me tell you, pinball is spot on many things. That's pretty crazy thing that an American journalist did. I mean, I can't believe that they actually did that. It's absolutely the most stupid thing to do. To if the United States really did that, how could they leak this information? Because what they did, they admit that's an act of war. Okay, so it's like the most stupid thing I've ever heard in my life. But anyway, I have not watched pinball. I will definitely look into it, and I'll be looking for China announcing the draft. And if it does, if I was Putin, I'd be scared less. You know what I mean? SHITLESS. That type of kind of a level of being scared. Teresa McCartney, what about Russian gold reserves? I will talk about that tomorrow, but for the first time in a very recent time, they started selling gold. They sold gold in January. They had been accumulated it for a long time, and the Russian gold reserves were growing, but the first time, I told you, January is a disastrous month for the Russian economy, but tune in tomorrow for more information on that. They started selling reserves. They started selling their yuans, Chinese currency that they had been keeping their money, their reserves in, and the gold. Graham Wilson, thank you so much. Loving the stream. By the way, Graham, it's nice to see when people have their faces and avatars like you do, like a big face, so I can see. It's like knowing where message comes from, knowing who super chat comes from. It's pretty cool, thank you for that. Loving the stream, Constantine, follow every evening. My door would always be open for you and family. Would you need to come to the UK? Thank you so very much. Have some more tea on me, my friend. Much love from UK. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know what? Money is great, Graham. But these words are really priceless. Okay? Thank you. You guys have like the best tea in the world. Hands down. Cheers to you. I'm so addicted on tea these days, Martin Babiak, greetings from Martin. Greetings from Slovakia. You're becoming part of my life. Thank you. This is such a compliment. Thank you so much. Ann Larson, I hope and wish you're all in the best possible health and spirits. Thank you. Sadly, Russia is doomed. Mark, hard to disagree with you. 4250 watching. Thank you, Frank. Great to see you. Mr. Mojo Rising, I have a box of Irish tea from Taylor's if anyone wants it. I'm more of a French press dude. Tea was good, but I drink 1 liter coffee by afternoon. I think I drink 1 liter of tea by afternoon. Susie Myler, Lang Leach. Any sanctions on nickel, aluminum, platinum, palladium, rare earth, and other minerals for exporting? I don't believe they placed sanctions upon those materials, metals, because that would completely destroy world's market. But I will double check for tomorrow. Pamela J, finally, yes, surgery good. Great to hear. I previously mentioned 20/40 in the left eye. Still needs adjusting, but nice to see out of left eye again. Thank you for letting me know. I know you said 3 times and the mods sent me yesterday your message, but thank you. Cindy Left Bunny, we have freezing rain in Ottawa. In Russia we say Ottawa. And the internet is iffy too. Are you sure you're not in Tashkent? Same thing here. Chirper, what assumptions did IMF? I already saw that, right? I didn't understand the question. Uh, R. Baker Barker, aviation industry. I will do that. Aviation industry is not doing well in Russia. Let me tell you, nothing is doing well. You're gonna Well, most likely you will not be surprised, but I'll give you what's really happening in terms of numbers, in terms of figures, and so forth. But you see, the biggest KG1. Thank you. Do you know if Russia has solved the shortages of technology chips? How would they do that? How would they solve these shortages? Of course not. They will not solve them. Anyway, that's exactly what I'll be talking tomorrow about. You see, lots of Russian politicians and regular Russian people, TV personalities, propaganda, they were screaming out loud last spring, oh, they're putting sanctions on us? That's great, because you know what? We're gonna benefit from it. We will become independent. We will rely on our own stuff. It should have been done long time ago, because it's to the good of us. We'll have our own planes, we will have our own semiconductors, we will have our own cars, everything. Weeks later, it turned out that Russia isn't capable of producing anything. It doesn't have any means of producing any high-tech stuff. Anything, not even low-tech, nothing. And we rely on the imports. And those things that Russians thought were Russian, made in Russia, like Russian cars, it turns out that they consisted of foreign-made parts, 40% at least. And no foreign parts, no Russian cars, Same thing with the aviation. But anyway, I will tell you tomorrow in the stream in details. Please tune in tomorrow. Thank you. Natasha and Mom, I will tell them. Thank you so much. Brian Watts, brilliant explanation. Thank you so much. Profit from war is in every country. Randy, you are right, sadly. Isabel Ligo, absolutely disgusting. I hope it's not towards me. Yvonne, try Yorkshire Gold, also from the UK. I have tried it. I bought it in Dubai because they don't have it here in Tashkent. I brought 2 big bags, and it's fantastic. It's one among my top favorite teas. I'm not drinking it today, but I'm finishing the first pack. Could you do a China stream, or do you prefer not to go beyond Russia, Ukraine? I will do China. It's just I did it in the past, but again, things unfolding, if you know what I mean. Things change, so I probably should do one of China streams soon to update on the situation. I had also heard that the Russian economy was doing good. For the God of Lord, how can Russia economy do good if there's such a disaster happening with Russian oil and gas? Imagine this. You're a household, you're husband and wife, and you combine make $100,000 per year. That's what, like after taxes, that's what is left at your pockets. You have mortgages, you have credits, you have 2 cars, you have a bunch of kids, you have college payments, you have, timeshare in Las Vegas. Just, you spend $99,000 out of 100 that you make every single year. You are left with very little, and you don't save it. You just spend it on pleasures, So you make as much as you spend. All of a sudden, you go to work, both of you, and your bosses say, hey, you know what? You're going to make half less money. And you're like, what? Yeah, well, then we quit. No, you can't quit. There are new laws. You are bound to work here for 2 more years. Otherwise, you go to jail. You're like, what the fudge? Well, that's the new rules. Okay, I'm sorry. And you say, what about my mortgages? What do I do? Well, it's your problem. You do whatever you want. And all of a sudden, your income drops from 100,000 to 50,000. But the spendings, they still the same. Then your wife comes up or your husband comes up and says, you know what, we can tap into 401k we had saved for years, and that's going to last us for like 7 months. Okay, let's do that. And you start tapping into your 401k. And then what happens next? This is how Russia is doing, exactly how it's doing. Where did you hear? Who told you that it's doing okay? Take that person's word and have it shove it up his throat, because Russian economy is in the most disastrous month of January in the entire modern history. Okay, how can it be doing good? Oh, Robert, thank you. Love your info. Very happy and your family are safe. Well, relatively safe. From Wisconsin, USA, born in Berkshire, UK. Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support and I appreciate the words and wishes. Thank you. Relatively safe. Not as safe as I want it to be. In other words, my windows still get opened once in a while, you know. So how does it work for a Russian like you to get paid by YouTube and other online payments? What currency do you use now? Susie Mailer. Basically, you set up a different account in a different country and you channel your payments into that country. And you don't get payments in Russia anymore. That's how it works. And if you don't do that, YouTube doesn't pay you to Russia, and it just money keeps piling in YouTube in your AdSense account, and until you come up with an alternative method of payment. Some Russians are going through that too. Amarath Avalon has given a sponsorship to one person. Thank you so much, Amarath. Denkin Hilft, crude oil Urals is at 56.09 USD. Not sure where you got your information from. My friend, where did you get your information from? Is it the world markets? Do you know how much the Indians and the Chinese are paying for the crude oil? That could be the market price. But imagine what kind of a discount is extorted from the Russians who are selling oil right now. We heard another number, 37 right now. That's the first time I heard 37, but I tend to believe it more 37 than 56, okay? My information, it was trading, well, being sold at a little under 50, like 47, 49 range. And that's the latest information in the last week. This information comes from Russia, by the way, from Russian markets, from Russian sources. Joe's Rames, Moscow tourism in 22 dropped to 4% of 2019 levels. Unbelievable. Well, it's kind of believable. You know, it's unbelievable, but it's forecastable. Orlando plenty, going swimming. 50 is not bad, you know. In February, for me, in 50s is very, very nice. Joe's Rames, Girkin or Strelkov, same guy. Yes, he goes by Igor Strelkov, but that's not real last name. The real one is Girkin. And he's been convicted of crimes, war crimes, and he's been given life sentence by Hague Tribunal. Susie Mailer, are people leaving Russia more now? Less males are leaving now. Then they were leaving in September, October, and November, but more of a organized emigration from Russia. Families leave, meaning by now they've sold everything that they had and they just move on. New people come to Tashkent every single day, so immigration from Russia, exodus continues. Kerry Hubbard, I'm in Bali right now. Many Russians here, everywhere. Bali, Thailand, Sri Lanka. My friends went to Sri Lanka saying there's a Russian community there, including few people from Tashkent from Breakfast Club. Met two Russians best, young couple IT who fled February 24th. That's exactly what I'm saying. But many more fled after September 21st, okay? Dave Strains, Constantine, are Russian planes still safe? Well, first of all, they're not Russian planes, they're American and European planes. More and more accidents happen every day. Small accidents at this point, but planes are not being serviced, and that's a huge problem. And I don't really know what's going to happen next year because you get the idea, you know. Dragonfell, PayPal is meant to be a good source to get your payments and you get all the funds if people donate. Dragonfell, I would love to have PayPal. Tell me, how do I open it? My PayPal was shot in March because I'm Russian and PayPal does not work in Russia anymore. And PayPal, you cannot open it here in Uzbekistan if you have bank account here. PayPal doesn't work in Uzbekistan. So please tell me, PayPal is the best, but tell me how. I need PayPal, please. It's, I'm in trouble because I don't have PayPal. If I had PayPal, I'd had my hands free, so to speak. But how do I get it? Gorgeous 82-degree day in California today. Angie, just please stop talking. Don't say anything else. Wish you could enjoy it and relax. Me too. Me too. I'm glad you guys have a pretty good day. It was freezing rain today and then internet power outages. Sam Samuels, how's the Moskvich car manufacturer going? Fantastic. It cost an arm and a leg. It's a Chinese, completely 100% made model. They bring it in containers, open the containers, and magically the car becomes Russian. It costs as much as Mercedes in the past, Nice. Jasper Potting Face, Janine, good evening, everyone. Dead out of the hospital, so busy early morning. Well, good thing. Thank you. Thank you so much for letting us know, Lionel Slade, today's stream by Joe Blogs was focused on the Russian January deficit. I did not watch it. I have my own sources. I have my own ideas. Actually, it would be interesting to compare. Susie Mailer, how does it work? Okay, so that. It's a Rome thing every day. Thank you so much. I really wonder how Russia could even survive that long without cheap imports. Any explanations? Devlo. Well, let's look at life from afar, from far top. People, human beings, they can survive without chips. They need food. They cannot survive without food. Nice to have roof over their heads, but not necessarily. They can even live in tents. Nice to have natural gas supplied to their houses, but as a Russian example shows, 50% of people in Russia do not have natural gas supplied, so they have to use wood, old style, to warm themselves in the winter and cook their food. and those people don't have semiconductors. They don't have the problem is to get wood to keep themselves warm in the winter. Their problem is to get potato, so they're fed throughout the winter. They don't need semiconductors. They don't need chips. That's how they can live that long. That part of the population that needs and wants to have chips, there's always China, and the Chinese companies supplying through Kazakhstan, through Uzbekistan. It's called the gray importing market. This is how they bypass the sanctions. You can buy iPhone in Russia, you can buy MacBook, you can buy an IBM computer or whatever. But it's just you have to pay more for it. That's all. And it's not supported by warranty anymore. That's all. But you can buy it. In the Russian manufacturing that uses chips, they just don't manufacture these things anymore. I think they don't use chips in the military equipment. That's basically explanation. Pamela J. No McDonald's in Uzbekistan. Surprising. Wendy's and KFC is here. So, and there's plenty of other very good food options here, except for besides McDonald's. Michael Sullivan, we're proud that the Fudge ministers. Yvonne, I thought the article was. Well, yes, thank you. Thank you, Yvonne. Ida, greetings from Hungary, from a British born Pole. Love your messages, so interesting. Thank you so much. Ida Kristova, thank you, appreciate it. Bird Corrigan from Maine. Hey, Bird, long time no see. Great to see you, my dear fellow Mainer. We actually have quite a few Mainers these days in the stream, believe it or not. Multi-ducky. It's good for you, Langlech is ASMO of Netherlands prohibited from selling very high-end chip-making machines to China. To all who can help me. I can't help you, I don't know. Tomasz Stemkar. Search information of Dmitry Khalezov, Celeste Solum. KG1, breaking missile and drone attacks in the south and east Ukraine tonight. What can I say? I spoke to people from Kharkov today, a few hours ago. A few hours ago, they said it was quiet. Not much I can say. I don't know. It hurts in my heart when I hear something like that. Well, not something like that, but when I hear that Russia is striking Ukraine again. No words. Famous Mainer, howdy. Economics is everything. We can't wait till part 2. Mods, wonderful. Comedy to keep all entertained. Thank you. Bob S. Electronics technology in Russia suffering. Bob, none existed. None existed. This technology does not exist in Russia. We thought it did, but turned out they were just stealing money and telling on paper that exists. But when people came to actually claim the electronics, they said, oh, whoops. And went to Dubai. Those responsible and those who stole money, they went to Dubai and they stashed their money away to British or American Virgin Islands, Cyprus, and all over the world. And now you go and Google Panama Papers and you will see, you will read the Russian part, and then we'll see who's benefited this theft of basically Russians' money. Mr. Zloby, those people have very little respect for hard work. Cannot even imagine how things gets complicated. Anonymous, always learn much from you. Thank you so much. It would be interested in hearing from your wife, and if it's safe, you will hear from her. Susie Myler, anyone watch Vasya in the Hay? I watch Vasya in the Hay myself. I find the work fascinating, very sad, very disturbing, but I've decided to help Vasya a little bit financially, and but anyway, stay tuned on them, on that. I'll keep you updated. Christine Irvin will lose more water due to evaporation in winter than summer. This is why the skin is dry. Sublimation. Tea is perfect. Boiled water makes it pure and flavors from herbal essence. Thank you, Christine. Okay, couple more questions and wrapping up. Good afternoon from North Iowa. Howdy, howdy. It's the wrong thing every day. Sorry, I'm going upwards instead of downwards. Wins Black. What makes Russia with that gas that they can't sell? What does Russia do with the gas? No clue. They've started increasing internal domestic prices for natural gas, so they want people to pay more since they can't sell gas abroad. That's how Russian government works for you. Bloodthirsty spiders. Haha, Dr. Evil. I think I drink as much tea as you do, but I can't watch your whole stream without going 2 or 3 times to the toilet. I don't even have urges. Carmen V, thank you so much. That's coming. Mary Doran, howdy, howdy. Thank you so much for coming. Mr. T, thank you, Roy Cousins. Lay's Real Talk. She's from China, migrated to USA at a young age. Thank you, Ling. Thank you so much. A name. Hello, can you please check if bills for heating rose a lot in Russia? Here's a link from Twitter. I don't have the link, but I can tell you because I still pay everything in Russia. My wife asks her family, and then it's organized, but it comes out of my pocket, and I am paying double from what I used to pay before. So the prices for natural gas have doubled. Used to be 4 rubles per cubic meter, and now it's close to 8 rubles per cubic meter. It's insane. I'm telling you, they're bloodthirsty spiders. They make money one way or another. They either sell abroad. If they don't, they start sucking more money out of you. What is the SMO oil cost to the economy? Great Southern Land. Good question. The cost to the economy is the economy itself. What is happening in Ukraine is ruining Russian economy. It has ruined already. Russian economy is nearly dead. I mean, you can't destroy the economy completely, but you can bring it down so low, and this is where Russian economy is. It's just a matter of time. We have a new sponsor, Joseph Nadu. Welcome to Deep Inside Russia. Wow. Thank you so much for becoming a Deep Inside Russia member. Finola, I have the red heart on my screen with hearts floating upwards. Me too, and I like it very much. Beritus, isn't it strange that left in the US today supports of big defense industries via help in Ukraine? Why would think that the traditional left wouldn't be more focused on better would be more focused on better and working? Beritus, I don't know. That's something we don't really discuss here, and I ask Maud to keep close tabs on that. The American politics. There are different streams about that. There are different people who know more, and we just don't like when people start fighting. I am, just to let you know, I think that Americans need to come together, that both parties, they need to solve issues by being bipartisan, and I think that would benefit America much more than just fighting between two major parties. Andres Benz, watch 1420. I also watch 1420. Yeah. Um, this young guy, his name is Daniel, asks very intelligent questions, but I don't know when the interview was made. On YouTube, you see only when he sends this, but he usually makes his interviews timely. It means he doesn't wait long to upload. Week, couple weeks, something like that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Angie Madcat, prices for gas has gone back up in California for the past 3 weeks or so. It's not due to Russian. There's different reason for this time. It's not because of Russia, because Russia has been pumping the world with cheap oil, super cheap oil. Okay, that's what's happened in the USA. Perhaps is just more of a greed of oil manufacturers at the refineries in the people who are in charge of oil industry. Because you are getting Russian oil in the United States as well, the cheap one too. The American companies are taking advantage. What happens is they send a tanker with Russian oil to, let's say, Egypt, and it arrives, and then it mixes Russian oil with, you know, different Egyptian oil or whatever, and then it goes to the United States, and the oil is sold as Egyptian. Okay, but it's real cheap. It's much cheaper than if bought from Egypt directly. So that's illegal scheme, and that's bypassing of the sanctions. But everyone is doing it right now. It's just Russian budget and Russian taxpayers do not benefit at all. It's actually at their expense being done. But it should benefit people in the West at the gas pumps because the gas should be cheaper. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for coming today. Again, I'm sorry for being late. I would like to pray as usual and inviting everyone to pray with me. There are 3,400 people right now. That's actually a small stadium. Think about that. And our prayer is very powerful. Thank you for doing it, for joining me and doing it with me. Let's do it again. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for giving us this day, for giving us this life. Thank you for putting food on our tables, putting roofs over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with people we love and who love us. Please help our children, keep them safe and healthy. Keep them at peace, please. Have peace, surrounding him and have peaceful skies above them. Send angel to every child in the world, so every child is kept out of harm's way. Please give us wisdom to raise our children in the way that they become good men and women and make this world a better place and will never engage into wars with each other. Dear God, please help stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. Please reach out and touch people who can make decisions. Have them wake up from their lethargic sleep. Have them regain common sense. Please fill their hearts with love, mercy, compassion, empathy. Give them forgiveness so they make the decision to stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. Please help Ukrainians who have been affected by this tragedy. Send them strength, recovery, answer their prayers, and please keep them safe and make their wishes come true. Please help my country, Russia. Send the army of your strongest angels, armed with the sharpest swords, led by Saint Michael in the shining armor, to fight and get rid of all the demons that have hijacked my country, Russia. Have it run by angels. Make it right, please. Make it peaceful. Make it a good neighbor that everyone loves and respects. Please help those who are traveling right now. Send them safe travels. Please help those who are seeking asylum or seeking new home. Please send them help and good people their way. Please help those who have been affected by this terrible tragedy in Turkey and Syria. Send all the help possible and needed to those people. Please send strength and soothe the souls of those who lost family members, loved ones. Please help those people. Please help the hungry, the homeless, the sick, the ones who are having troubles with their faith, the jobless, the depressed, the desperate. Send love their way, show them your miracles, and surround them with your support, please. Don't leave those people behind. Please give us peaceful skies. Our children's well-being, health and safety and peaceful skies are three most important things in this life. And we only realize that once we lose these things, once something starts going wrong. So please send us peaceful skies and have our children be safe and healthy. Please, I would like to ask you for the women who are pregnant and making a choice whether to keep their babies or not right now. Reach out and talk to each one of them so they make the right choice. Thank you for putting us together in this community, fantastic community. And thank you for allowing us to pray together. Please help everyone who's praying along with me or just watching us pray. Make everyone's wish come true and answer everyone's prayer, please. I would like to ask you for a few people who reached out and asked to be mentioned in the prayer. They need your help. Please help Wayne, Shirley, Debbie, Jen Ellen, Finola, Lars Henrik, and Lars Henrik's mother, the highwayman, Amanda, Essie from the Scottish Isles, Outlander and family, Choriz and family, David Porter, his wife, daughter, and all people in Chernovtsi, Ukraine. Enjoy every minute, please. Send strength and support. Lars, Susan Marshall, Beulah, Buzz Simon, Janice Burgess, Alvin's mother, Teresa D., Marsha Tucker, Garcia Castellanos, Terry Carter, Joe McMahon, Meta Spencer, Diana, and family, Bree's friend, Albina Fell, Michael Yukon, Pamela J. Thank you for giving her good surgery. Life from Sweden. Yelena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Galina, Igor, Janine, Michael Milkovitz, Marlene, Paul Bins, Richard, Mallory M., Dirk Misler, James Rhodes, Terry, Brittany S., Hannah and her children, Richard Burris, Angelica at Life, and Scan's family grandson, Grace, Barb, Randolph, Nelly, Arkady, Yuri, and everyone in Mykolaiv, Ukraine, Harry's family, Verlinda's niece, Ian James, Doug, Rafaela From, Anna, Priscilla, Michelin, King Nero, Gaby Hyman, Donald, Deborah, Lisa's son, Jade, Allison, Dave Moyers, Janine, Mr. Hansen, Heidi, Bob, Rob, Tony, Kylene, Umel, Jennifer, Matt, Ashley and family, Mr. Dean Spooner and his church called Our Savior Lutheran Church, Lisa Kumrian, Jacob, Adam Oliver, Treasure, Kyle's wife, Grace Philosophy. Thank you for giving her a gift of the second healthy grandchild. We're very happy about that. Everyone is happy. Maggie, Carmen's sister, Vladislav and his father Sergey, Susie Myler, Gina, Wayfarer, EMS paramedic Liz, Karen from Maine, Lori Miles' husband Sherry, Layla, Philip's mother. A few children I would like to mention specifically. They're Cadence, Sebastian, Maverick, Coulter, Theo, Marty, Ansley, and Karin Vassar's niece, 2-year-old niece. Please send them recovery, send them good health, send their families strength, and please send them all your miracles. I would like to ask you for also for the children of in Ukraine that have been affected by this tragedy that is happening between Russia and Ukraine. The children of Russia that have been affected as well. And please help Ukrainians right now who are being attacked by Russian rockets. Please keep everyone safe. People who are without electricity and heat, please help them out. So surround them with your warmth and provide utilities as much as possible. Thank you so much, dear God, our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. My friends, thank you for coming. You've been absolutely great, awesome. You rock. And thank you. Thank you so much. I will continue telling you about what's truly happening in Russia in terms of economy, industries. I will address the questions that were asked today. So please come back tomorrow at the usual time. I hope there are no outages, and I will start at the usual time. Thank you so very much. Before I go, Carthago delenda est.